All good. But we have you now, and I'm grateful for it. Okay, pause, stop. We're recording. We're recording. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the final call Zoom meeting of the inaugural class of the Million Person Project Story Academy. It is really so nice to see your faces for those of you who are on our cameras here, and nice to have all of you on the line. I just want to say before we get started that I have Curtis, Dave, Inga, Lily, and Leah on the line, as well as myself and Heather, of course. If I didn't say your name and you're on the line, just chime in and let me know. But I think that's everybody, right? So yeah.
Yeah, and just a reminder to everybody to turn their view, those of you that are on video, to turn it to gallery view.
Yeah.
So you can see everybody's face like the Brady Bunch.
Yep. Thank you for that. So boy, this is a really yeah. I'm gonna look down at Dave. If I look down, oh hey Dave. This is it's an exciting day. I know Heather and I have talked about it's an exciting day for us. I hope it's an exciting day for you. It's also a bittersweet day because it brings this chapter of our work together to an end. And I definitely say this chapter with intention, believing strongly that our work together carries on. And we could talk more about that, perhaps around story, but also just our work is like awesome people doing awesome things in the world. So I'm excited about that. And I'm also just, I am very in touch with this is big for us. And we're just grateful to be here with you. Hey, Nicole. Welcome. I think you're probably muted.
She's driving.
Yeah,
so dangerous.
In the game. Cool. And is that 902 number you, Nicole? 415 902.
No, that's Marcy. That's Marcy.
Oh, hey, Marcy.
Hi, Julian.
Nice to have you on. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, all of that to say welcome. Yay. Heather, why don't you go ahead and we'll get into it.
Yeah. So I just want to start off with acknowledging you all and thanking you all for being willing to go on this journey with yourself and with us. And the thing about stepping out into the world with your personal story is that you don't have to do it. It's not required of you. And our culture isn't even asking you to do it. In fact, a lot of our culture is asking you not to do it. And so your willingness to answer the sort of bigger call of no, I have one life to live as the person that I am. And I want to stand in all of who I am, personally, professionally, I want to powerfully be the most me I can be in this lifetime. To me, that's it's a sacred undertaking. And I think a lot of you know that I feel like that about it. It's it really feels to me, this is about saying, I want to have the biggest impact, the deepest impact that I can on this planet while I'm here. And so we don't take it lightly. And I know, and you all know, you've been in this group now for months, it's not light and it's not easy. And there's a lot of reasons to not do it. And so the fact that you all are standing here so much more boldly out there in the world is really incredible. And so I just want to say thank you for the hard work that you've put into it, and the heart, and the BS of being God, I feel self-conscious about this. I have a vulnerability hangover. My hand's shaking more than I want it to. I feel more embarrassed than I normally do, but I'm doing it anyway. That means something really big to me personally. So thank you.
Cool. Thank you for that, Heather. I want to chime in just a little bit more after my scattered opening with Luther Vandross, and just say, as I'm settling in, actually getting to see you all, and thank you to those of you who've joined us on the phone. I see Kelly as well. Welcome, Kelly. So glad you're here. and Marcy and Nicole, we already said. So, yeah, this is a big day for us. You all have given us a gift. You've given us a huge gift just by, taking the leap of faith, as Heather said, and taking it in a world and a society in which oftentimes you're told not to, or that if you do, you have to do it in a certain way. And you all have really taken a leap of faith with us, and you've shown us just tremendous trust, and you've invested in yourself in a really powerful way. And for us, this is like, I want to say it's double. Like, the reason we do this work is to work with people like you all. The reason we do this work is we believe that the work that you're doing is critical to our world, that the barriers are breaking, that the work that you're holding, that the assumptions and taboos that you're challenging or changing, that is like the work that needs to be done in this world. And we have to empower more people to do it. Heather and I believe one of the most important ways to do that is through story. That's why we do it. So you've given us the gift in the sense of doing your work and allowing your story to be a part of your leadership and stepping into that. That in and of itself is a huge gift to us. On top of that, this is our life's work, and we want to do it for as many people as we can. And so this Story Academy is one of the core ways that we want to bring this work into the world. And we worked really hard to make it quality. We worked hard on the tools and the videos and everything else. And this is the first time that we've done this full 6-month cohort. And so for you all to show that faith and trust in us, to step into that work, to have grace and patience with us as we continue to hone our craft, that is a gift that I can't thank you enough for, because what I know more so now today than I have up to this point, period, in our work, is that we are better suited to do this work. And that when we reach out for the next cohort, that we are going to serve them even better. And it's because of you all, the grace that you've shown and the patience that you've had, the ways in which you've challenged us and asked us to step up, asked us for what you needed. We now better understand what people need to do it. And so you've given us that gift. So I just want to express my gratitude to each and every one of you for that. And the last thing I'll say is I'm just so excited to continue to see and hear and share what you all are doing in the world. Particularly when it's your story making its way into the world. But no matter what, we got you. We're down for you. We want to share it. We want to share your work in the ways that it makes sense, including your story and beyond. So that's one of the things that I'm really excited to do coming out of this. And with that, I will say now we wanted to just open it up. This is a celebration. This is an acknowledgement of your hard work and dedication. This is 6 months ago, a little bit more than 6 months ago, that you jumped on the first one, and here you are at the last. You made it. Good job. We also know that this work is a continuation, and it's a practice, as Heather said. It's a practice, right? So the practice continues. So this is not the end, but we are closing the chapter on this part of it. And so we want to, it's important to acknowledge the times that the chapters, the book, that we turn the page on something, and we want to celebrate that. So we, as you know, provided earlier in the email and on Facebook, or maybe I didn't put them on Facebook. My apologies. Anyway, 3 questions, 3 prompts that we encourage you to use, and I'll just say them. I also put them in the chat. If you're on the computer, you can see them. So the 3 prompts are: what is something you've gained from this experience? What is an appreciation that you have for one of your fellow Story Academies, or maybe it's for people in general, could be either or. And then what's something that you're excited to do, particularly around your story moving forward? So those are the 3 ways we thought we could sort of frame this conversation, or help to support your sharing. So we encourage you to do that just to help hone it. But also, this is an opportunity for you to share what you need to share in this moment. So if you don't feel like it's exactly answering one of those questions, but it's relevant to our conversation, then that's totally fine too. Okay. Just a few minutes each. I've asked Inga to kick it off because Inga has to leave a little bit early. She let me know. So we'll be losing her a little bit early. So I want to make sure she goes. And also somebody's got to start. And it might as well be Inga.
Why not? Okay, well, great. Thanks so much. So yeah, this has been an amazing experience in that I started off the experience with just all the reasons why I couldn't do it. And then I really want to acknowledge both Julian and Heather for just being completely unstoppable and like a space of like, you're gonna do it, we're just gonna figure out how you're gonna do it, and like constantly giving me context. And then even I was really strongly engaged initially, and it then sort of took off from there, where I was doing less posting and more being in action. So what I gained from the experience is, it's one thing to sort of be attached to the process of something, and it's another thing to actually create the experience for yourself and then be successful inside of that. So that really made a difference for me, and the appreciation that I have for the other fellow Academy members, like I just acknowledged, our hosts and leaders throughout this process, but really everyone I want to acknowledge for just, being courageous and vulnerable and sharing in the way that we all have with each other, because it's been, for me at times, nerve-wracking, like irritating, frustrating, but more to do with me pushing myself, and less to do with anything else. And then something I'm excited to do with my story going forward. I feel like in launching the magazine, like that's what kind of the underbelly of it is, just to be inside of new stories that I'm creating. So I feel like that's the testimony to my being in practice using Story Academy to really get that I've been up to this the whole time. I just had a different context for it. So it's just nice to be in partnership that way, to also be a vehicle for storytelling.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you so much, Inga. And thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have a list of folks. I'm just going to go through them. So I'm going to say Lily Valencia. Hello.
Hi there. First of all, I just want to say thank you to everybody. It's been a process. It's been an interesting growth for me, and being real with like Inga said, and I don't know if this is the same way you were thinking about it, Inga, but creating the experience for myself within the framework, and doing I'm not being very
yeah, you're all right.
Not speaking very clearly, but and accepting that where I am, and growing from it, not beating myself up over certain things where I'm not further along, or realizing that the way that I think is not the way that everybody thinks. Isn't that, I think that's a really silly thing, but I just kind of assumed everybody thought the same way. And
yeah, I'm just going to cut you off there for 1 second.
Yeah.
One, I think that's a really powerful acknowledgement that sometimes our strongest held belief is one that we just assume everybody else has. So I just want to acknowledge you for that. And then, Julian, I want to ask you if you can mute Nicole and a couple other phones that are creating some background noise. And Lily, can you speak a little closer to your mic because you're a little faint?
Is that better, Heather?
Yeah, speak up a little more.
Okay. Is that
and
better?
Then I promise not to interrupt you again. Really.
No, I appreciate you jumping in, Heather. Thank you. And so I've just, so the story that I'd been telling myself in my head, and the story I've been telling was kind of just repeating, just this like getting stuck in the eddy of a river, right? And you're just kind of going round and around and around. And then, so doing the Story Academy and hearing all of you with your speaking from your heart and your souls, it made me dig deeper into my story and go a little bit like, okay, how do I think about it in a different way? How do I attack, that's too strong of a word, but how do I come about it from a different perspective, in order to have a fresh story, not only to tell the world, but to tell myself,
Mm-hmm.
and to view, in order to view the world through a different set of eyes. And so that's been wonderful. And so just looking forward to moving on and working on a little book here. And then once I get through that, no, not through, anyway, once I get that going, then that is leading on to a bigger book that I want to create and change the world in my own little way. And I guess I feel like I'm kind of naive, right? Maybe that. So sometimes I've been stuck in the like, oh my gosh, like, what are you thinking? Say good, do good, be good. Who cares? You know, but it is important. And those words are my guiding light. And so if I just focus on those words, then everything falls into place.
Right. Ashe, that's right.
And so it is. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
Yeah. So just thank you. I feel like I'm gonna cry, but thank you all for just being there. And I really appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you. And I really.
Yeah, we really do.
Yeah. You know, I really, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for your book. I'm excited for Say Good, for you living into your truth, the Say Good, be good, do good. It's really powerful. So you know, your faith in that should be unwavering, and it sounds like it is. And I just commend you so greatly for it. So thank you.
Thank you, Julian.
All right, Leah. Oh, I think I probably, I'm sorry. Leah was unmute. Leah?
There we go. Very good.
Sorry
Thank
about
you.
that. Sorry about that.
Okay. So, let's see. I will say that this program has been really hard for me. And it started out that way and got more so in that I feel like I came into the middle of something that started like, had already gone halfway. That's what it felt like to me. It was like, in some ways, it's kind of like, what? I don't get what I'm supposed to do here. Like, I don't, so that's what it felt like the whole time. It, more so after we started doing our story map, when we started to put it together and then go into the idea of publishing, getting published, it just got more and more confusing to me. And I guess what I want to acknowledge about that is, or appreciate about that is, partly that I kept going pretty much, and that everybody kept, it's kind of like it was like a secret society. Like, I couldn't figure out how people were doing what they were doing because it wasn't really happening in the Facebook group. It was like something was happening behind the scenes that I couldn't see. So I kept going in that. I did, self-publish something and have the experience of that, which I want to acknowledge the program for and you guys for, because that was kind of like, winging it and then not really getting published by Elephant Journal, them publishing me, but going through enough steps to see what it would have taken and still getting to be read and published. I also got to see and, appreciate that I recognize that it's not just about writing something and getting published, but then you have to do something with it. You have to get people to read it, especially in the formats that we're working in, or that I was working in with Elephant Journal, which is online. You really have to work it after that, like getting program or anything. That is an awareness. So I have awareness now awareness about what it is to write and to get published. And it still feels really mysterious, and it still feels really like there are missing pieces. But the whole subject is open and more real and I guess accessible than it ever was to me. I came into this program wanting to refine my message and my own clarity about my story and why I do what I do. I really wasn't focused on the publishing part. So all of that is new and valuable information. And I still feel kind of lost, and I still, want to continue to be enthusiastic and keep working this. I hope there are ways to do that, that you guys are providing, that we can still get support and group support. I really want to appreciate the group for the level of sharing and the level of vulnerability. Like, this thing's vulnerable, and it was, you could feel it all the time. I could feel everybody's vulnerability and sharing, and it seems like everybody's really working hard. It's just that it wasn't very visible to me anyway as a group member. It's almost like it all became kind of, more private than I would have wanted it to be, and more private than I thought it would be. Something like that.
Yeah.
And then you guys are inspirational because you know something. I know you know it, and I'm inspired to try to figure out how to get it out. Like something like you're setting up, there's some, when you sense that there's something to learn, but you can't quite put your finger on the information or the transformation, but there's inspiration there. That's what I'm feeling like.
Right on. Awesome.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to congratulate you and acknowledge one thing you said, Leah, which is around keeping the enthusiasm up and continuing to do it, because there's a level in which we can always engage with the confusion and the non-clarity, the cloudiness of it. But your enthusiasm is really contagious. And I see you every morning in your group, in your meditation group, bring your enthusiasm forward. And so to bring that same enthusiasm to you and your story work like you have in this group going forward. So thank you for being here and for sticking with us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for, before you go, Heather, I just want to say that there, when I speak to you and and I'll express doubt or hesitation, you always keep my root in the mirror that you give me for my own, my own effect in the world. And I appreciate that about you. That you give me a good mirror for that, because I come to you when I forget, and you always bring me back right to it. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. I see you.
Cool. Thank you, Leah. And thank you for those thoughts. Thank you for your thoughts. And we're going to talk more about next steps after the official close of the Academy too. So we will discuss that. And we'll go ahead and.
Okay, I just want to say that I have to go to class right now, so I will listen to the recording. And
you know how to get a hold of us.
Thanks to everybody. Yeah, cool. And to everybody in the group. Many, many blessings to you guys.
Cool. Thank
you. Let's stay in touch. Okay. Cool. Bye.
All right. So up next, we're going to do Nicole, and then I also wanted to acknowledge Yana. I know you're in the mix and on the line. So glad that you're here. We'll get you in the mix too, but we'll go Nicole up next. Oh, I probably muted you too. I'm sorry. Unmute.
How's that? Unmute.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, here we are. I could use a refresher on the questions. I'll just talk for a minute. If I don't touch on them, then prompt me for whatever one I didn't touch on. Okay. I think that one thing that I am proud of through this work, well, I guess what I want to start off with is I wanted to start off with some sadness that I'm feeling about my participation in the group. I feel like I started off strong, and then over the last couple of months, 6 weeks to 2 months, I have really been less present, and I feel really sad that we're ending, and that's where the state that I have been in for the ending of this group, because I really have been inspired by the people in this group and by the process, and I wish that I had, like, I want to honor your, like, sharing and your vulnerability and your process by matching your energy and your presence in that. And so I feel sad that that's not how I've ended. So I just want to start off by saying that. And I think that one of the things I'm taking away from this experience is the idea of, like, just the frame of the me, us, now. And that feels like something that's actually starting to get a little bit into my bones and into the way that I'm thinking as I'm writing stuff, which for me is, you know, like, I send emails pretty, like, at least once a week to this email list of people that I have. And so when I'm sharing something about myself and trying to, you know, share a story, it's like I'm noticing how it's kind of following that structure without me intending to. And then I'm like, oh, if I just tweak this, that makes it a really clean us paragraph. And then now I can move to the call to action or whatever. So that's a really helpful frame. And I think the other thing that I'm taking away is, let's see, like Layla, I really wanted to get clarity about my message and about my my message and my, like, my vision, really, and then my message that is connected to the vision. And so I think that what I'm taking away is that it's an evolving thing. Like, I'm getting more that it's like, you know, we talked in the middle of the program about the story, you know, stories from the middle, and how it's all a story from the middle. And so I'm holding that, you know, there's not a place to get to, but it's like, this is the clarity that I have now. This is the way I'm messaging now. And like, it just all kind of iterates and shape shifts, but it's still really right around this core that is me and what I'm about. So I'm having a little more trust in that than I did before. And I remembering that you asked us to keep it brief, so I want to dial back and say appreciations to, as I mentioned before, to the group for really showing up. And, like, I really felt, you know, people pushing themselves in this group, and I appreciated that a lot. And it felt like a lot of the times we're all kind of bumbling around in the dark, and it was nice to have company doing that. And I appreciate Julian and Heather, and for your feedback and for your presence. And I think for, you know, like Heather, like you said with Layla, just like for seeing me and for seeing us and having the faith in us and in me when I might not have it in myself. So, and again, like, back to the group, I just, as Heather said in the very beginning, and I think both of you said in the very beginning, this is a group of really amazing people doing awesome things in the world. And I think that I'm holding more than ever the importance of all of us doing our awesome things in the world, because it's going to be that critical mass of people doing awesome things that's going to lead to creating the change I'm hoping happens in the world. And so it's like, it gives me faith, you know, to really have these stronger connections with each of you, knowing that you're out there doing your thing, and, like, that our hearts are going to always be connected, even if we're not in contact, like, in a regular way all the time. So thank you for being who you are and for doing the work that you're doing in the world on all of our behalf. I'm really grateful for that.
Awesome. Thank you, Nicole. Bumbling around in the dark, but with company. I like that. Oh, no. Am I still here? Okay, I was frozen.
Yeah, you're here. You're here.
Okay, good. I thought it froze. I'm glad it didn't.
Am I still here?
Am I still here? It's such an existential question. Thank you, Nicole. Okay, so I'm just going to give the rundown of where we're going. We have Marcy, and then Curtis, and then Yana, and then Kelly, and then we'll have Dave Chase close us out, and then we'll talk about a little bit about, with the closing of this, what can you expect, okay? And then we'll play more Luther Vandross. It'll be great. So Marcy, you're up. And let me see, I need to unmute Marcy. You're unmuted, Marcy.
I'm unmuted, so I'm here.
You're here. You are here.
Right. Well, hello all. I've been really quiet on these calls. You probably don't even know who I am. However, I have been, first of all, I'm very grateful to everyone who's participated, for example, in the hotspots and sharing your story. It has been so inspiring to me to hear people, work through what your vision is, and, to see your progress. And although I've been a little silent, I've been celebrating everyone who has gotten out there. Thank you, Heather and Julian, for sharing every time somebody, was published or did a TED Talk, because it made me believe that, maybe I could do it too. So really, really motivated by all of you. And I hope that I can someday pay it forward, participate, or help someone else really discover what their vision is and get out there in the world. I had no idea that I could potentially, haven't yet been published or do a TED Talk or even write a book, but now I believe that there is potential for all of that. So
I do too.
I'm really excited, and I will keep you guys posted. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Marcy. It's been really a joy to work with you. It's been, especially this last little bit of time, as you've gotten clarity around where you want to be and have been taking the steps to make it happen. And I have no doubt it's going to happen for you. It's just, it's only a matter of time. I believe that for sure. So thank you.
All right, I'll take it.
Yeah, thank you.
And one last thing, Marcy. One thing, Marcy, is just like, really being able to receive that you are doing this right now, and like the woman that you just met with that suggested you write an article, submit for a talk, and possibly submit for a book. Like, that's a really big deal. And it's just really important to remember that when that kind of stuff happens to us, we always think it's happening to everybody else, and that person says that all the time, but they probably don't. So just really understand that it's already happening. You don't have to make it happen. You just have to show up for what is happening.
Right. And that it's the work that you've done to this point that is allowed.
Excellent.
Yeah. Good job.
You make it sound so easy.
You make it so easy. All right. Thanks, Marcy. I'm going to put you back on mute. Curtis John Mitchell, my friend. It looks like you are unmuted, so go ahead.
Yeah. It's really been a profound journey. I mean, to think of something I've gained from this experience is kind of ridiculous, because I've gained like so much. Every single goal that I like stubbornly worked on writing down for Heather in that exercise has been like achieved and passed, and I found my way through. I found the entire experience to be utterly and divinely guided. Definitely, extremely challenging and something I really needed to get into to get out of. But it was pretty profound to find my way in through a massive turning point on a GoFundMe camp. The turning points continued with the first publishing and really becoming okay with telling my story and putting it out there. It's becoming really clear on my values and my work and what moves me, to showing up for that first story slam and sitting in that energy for 2 hours and becoming okay with that. I really didn't realize how much that did for me until I showed up here in the Adirondacks on Friday night and showed up to another story slam with like, maybe 15 minutes to prepare or ground myself. And it was really remarkable to like walk into that. It was like a 1 for this one or 2. It was truly like, no big deal. I'm prepared, ready to go. Let me and it was an amazing experience. It was amazing to find that connectivity with the kids, talk to a long list of people afterwards, exchange phone numbers and emails, see opportunities unfold, and really truly an amazing experience. I'm definitely sad to see it go, but I'm also excited to see what it evolves into. I mean, there's no way I'm done storytelling or telling my story as I finish this last draft for a new article. I just see the story evolving and so much more like freedom and creativity amidst it. It's like you guys have just set up a download. Like I was in the Matrix. I was like, I need a story program, and boom, there it goes. And here it is. And it's pretty easy to work amidst and work forward from. Really appreciative of like everyone in the Academy, all of your stories. I mean, I paid close attention to them all. They all inspired me. They all motivated me to move forward, and like just how each of you would show up at different times with support on things I posted or sharing an article or really like heartfelt advice on how to speak in public. It really meant the world to me and helped me grow and really just fulfill this dream and this inspiration to try and bring my story out into the world. And nothing was more exciting than working with you, Heather, when I'd really get stuck and we really just bang through stuff so fast and go to the next level, and just how you showed up and how you were able to support me and like just circle the wagons. It was like really profound. And I commented on your post. I mean, you're the coach I didn't know I needed, and I really appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to all the great things that can come from here. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to like flesh out this next article draft and a TED Talk and a bigger version of my story, because the middle keeps moving forward and onward down the path, and it gets more exciting to talk about. So I'm happy to leave the older victim stories behind me and get more into the healing stories and the deep personal change I want to see in the world. But yeah, just totally grateful for the Academy, for the experience, for the courage to be here and to finish on this note of knowing like everything's clear for me. And I really feel like you guys hit the mark and delivered what you said you would, and helped me deliver and be accountable on what I say I would do. So it's brilliant. My life's changed. Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis. So glad to have you. Yeah. Thank you. That's beautiful to hear. I'm moved.
Me too. And it's just so the beginning. It's so the beginning.
Yeah.
And like, remember when it feels like harder again, that it felt really, really hard before you felt this freedom. And so it might just be a little bit of that for a while, and that's okay.
Yeah, definitely okay.
Yes. Beautiful, man. Thank you, my friend. I want to invite Yana Pagan to join us. Let me see if I need to unmute you. Yana, you're unmuted.
Thank you.
Hey, Yana, nice to have you on.
Glad to be able to share with you all. So looking at the questions, and just want to share that I'm really grateful to you both, Heather and Julian, for this opportunity. Yeah, I really am grateful also just for the new network of people and friends, just because I think that that's been a huge part of things, because it has allowed me to just be part of a whole different circle of people with common interest. And I think that as Leah and Lily were talking, I think that they resonated something within myself, and I think I think that kind of helps me to know how important that network has been. And so in looking at the questions, I know that for sure that's part of what I've gained, but I think the one thing that I know for sure that I kind of hated along the way, but I walk away from appreciating was just being able to hone in on that narrative piece, and really just working on that, because as I work with some other people, I know that is something different than anything else in my preaching and teaching that I've had to do. So I think you all have helped me to look at it in a very different way. So I appreciate that, because even though I kind of did the practice as kind of getting it out there, because it was the hardest thing I think I've ever had to do, because it really came from a vulnerable place. It was also very important because I think I achieved what I wanted to do, which was to take this opportunity and this time to, kind of look at this as a tunnel practice. And so I can at least say that with you all, I did that. And so looking at that second question, I really have to thank Inga, because if not, I think there's been moments that I have called her, I have emailed her, I have, just with everything in the sign of the times, the way things are as women of color, and she has just been my soul sister. And I really admire her and I love her, and she knows it, but I'm just going to shout her out as we're on this call, because I just admire the fact that we had a heart-to-heart as we were doing the stories. My partner didn't quite work out that well, and I didn't get to really, share my map as I was supposed to. And she just said, "It's okay, you can share with me." And I was like, "Yes, I love you."
Yeah, that's cool.
So it was a match made in heaven then. And then we just built from there. And it just really was something that I needed, because then she shared her map. And, from there, it just really just helped. And I just saw, someone mentioned about vulnerability. And yeah, that really has been part of this network, that even though we're all strangers, that I think that will surpass all these things that we have. And I really do appreciate that. The third question, I think moving forward, yes, TED Talk.
Yeah.
But also beyond that, I think just honing in on my speaking career, from talking to you two about that further, but with oh my gosh, her name's escaping me right now, but with the, just Dawn, with all these different people that I've been able to just keep talking to and seeing how things are falling in place. And I could just really just see how the perfect timing of everything, and how I really have a gift and a story to tell. So I think in many ways, with all the things that have been in my life, this has just kind of been just I can't thank you guys enough. I kind of want to take Heather and Julian, and I got to have you over for dinner. You know what I mean? I got to make you some arroz con pollo and some habichuelas. Like, you guys, I want to just make you part of the family. You know what I mean? So I love you.
Hey, well, I feel that.
I love the rest of you too. I mean, anytime y'all can let me know, Facebook me, and I'll make you some food too.
Hey, come on.
But us Puerto Ricans, we love to cook. So.
Oh man. Well,
but it's a story. It's a family that continues. So thank you to all of you.
Yeah, beautiful sharing. Thank you so much, Yana. That means a lot, and we will absolutely take you up on that next time we're in Indy. And I want to say I had the privilege of working with you quite a bit back and forth on your story. It is profound. Your courage is profound. Your voice is so needed. I was moved every time I interacted with you, every time I interacted with your story. So I'm so grateful to you, and I'm so grateful for you recognizing your leadership prior to the Story Academy. You've stepped up for your community, in your church community and beyond. So I want to thank you for that. And I want to say that it's a particular privilege to get to work with you on your story. So thank you. I'm already hungry also. I'm ready. All right. Thank you. And thank you everybody for all the awesome sharing to this point. We got just a couple more. I want to invite Kelly Blazer into our space here. There she is. She's unmuted. Thank you. And then we'll wrap up with you, Dave.
All right. I forget what the questions are, but I just want to say that it's, it's intense. This has been real. And I think for me was a very intensely strong start in the Story Academy, because I had a big retreat with 50 people in it. I'd never really spoken to 50 people in that intensive and an over a whole weekend. Multiple times I was, delivering teachings, and I'd never really integrated aspects of my story into that context. And I was pretty fucking freaked, And Heather helped me so much. And being in this academy helped so much. Miriam, who's not on the call right now, was just really, going through my life map with Miriam and then building out the story with Heather and having Miriam listen and give me her feedback was just super, super critical. And I kind of felt like that was so big for me. I sort of felt like, okay, I'm good. I'm done. That. I got what I needed. I got what I wanted, within the second month or something. That was in February, that retreat. So, I did a little coasting, I think, through the middle, and then there's been more of a final push right now. I think not that I was totally coasting. I feel like this is really profound work. Just to have the opportunity as a human being to really go into your own past, do that excavation, and then link it to how you're making an offering of your life, and discerning what you're actually trying to say, what your actual values are. It's not happening all over the place. It's not the norm. So I found it really tremendous. And I thought it was also really interesting for me because there was a simultaneous, I'll try to get through this quickly, but this simultaneous clarification of what my values are and what my message is. And at the same time, because of the way that we do this story work, because of the whole show, don't tell, and the referring back to what actually happened and the actual memories that you have. And there's this way in which you're not actually controlling the message that's being conveyed. So it's this weird, discerning what you're trying to say, but then telling it in a way that people actually totally get to come up with their own conclusions out of who they are and what's their truth, which is this really profound kind of, interweaving of head and heart, I think. And also just me, and it's the self and us interweaves in a really cool way, which I think is what true art is. And so I think it was really cool to get to engage in it in that way. And yeah, I don't know. It's been really epic. It should be a subscription program where you just sign up for a decade or something. And I also just have to say, I know it's, my time should be done, but I do want to say, Heather and I did an interview recently, and just working with you around that interview was really, really profound, Heather. And one of the things that, just as we were preparing for it, that you really imprinted onto me that I think is so important is just this idea that kind of more important than anything you're doing in your business or whatever is the way that you're kind of imprinting upon culture. This is what you say all the time, but the impact of thought leadership is so much more profound than the actual impact of what you're doing at the other level of, the business that you're creating or whatever, because it's really the long game, So that really impacted me, kind of got me excited. And then also to see how much, like from how Heather positioning people in different editorials and articles out there, to see how easy it is to position, to get people into stories, I think is really amazing. Just to realize how easy it is actually to have an influence if you are willing to. You're kind of willing to stand in the light like that, you know? So. Also,
Heather is a story placing savant. So don't, you know, ain't everybody going to recreate that.
Right. Yeah. I got that. Yeah. Noted.
No, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing, Kelly. Anything else? I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm good. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Kelly. It's a joy to have you as a part of this.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you for having me.
All right. My man, Dave Chase, I think he was the first on the line. He will be the last of our group here to share with us. Dave Chase, take it away.
Okay. Your comment at the outset on the leap of faith definitely applied for me, but I thought it was well worth taking. Absolutely. It was a great use of time, even though I don't think I had the time, but I made it.
Yeah, you did.
And I'm just looking at my notes on your questions. I would say the deeper self-reflection, really gave me the aha moment. Like, I knew I was passionate about what I was doing, but I didn't necessarily know why the heck I was so passionate. And so that was just an excellent process that you took us through.
Yeah.
And, dug into the, deep, dark past for me on, what I guess defined me. So that was great and really appreciated that. In terms of, really echoing everybody else's comments in terms of the second piece, just throughout a lot of heartfelt comments came. I just point out maybe Yana and Danielle, there were a couple times where they were very candid and really powerful comments that hit me at the right time and sort of showed the impact of conveying one's true self. And so I think that helped me, sort of dig deeper and find some of that. So I'd thank everybody, but I remember their comments particularly. In terms of going forward, by telling my story, I hope I inspire others to kind of go through that same sort of self-reflection process and digging deeper and turning that really into an action, not just a self-reflection. And, for me, that actually just got this, my review copy of my book. And actually the very first part of the book is my preface. I guess it's kind of backwards there, but that's the preface of the book is my story of us, or self, us now. So that was great. And I didn't know exactly how I was going to apply it beyond speaking, but it really just meant just spot on. So, and as you know, I've been, practicing that and putting into the real world. And as I've shared a few times, people have really found that resonated with them and struck them at a level deeper than just kind of a more antiseptic level of my, my message. So I really appreciate that. And I've taken that to heart. And periodically there's times when I get asked in some form or another, why are you doing what you're doing? And it's really nice to have this, message to go back to that hopefully gets crisper over time. So I just reiterate that thank you, for putting together the Academy, letting me in, kind of after the thing started, and adjusting to different people's needs. Leah made some comments earlier, and I'm sure you adjusted what she needed. For me, actually, the process you had was great, where you kind of had this interactive, and then I can kind of go off into my own space and figure stuff out and then come back. And, so we each have our own style. So I appreciated how you adjusted. So again, thank you for putting this together. And it was really great, A to Z. Thanks.
Cool. Thank you, Dave. That's so exciting. You got to make sure to put in the Facebook where we can get that book.
Okay. I'll give you, it's going to be published Labor Day. But if you're really anxious, I can give you a link to the advanced reviewer's copy.
Cool. Yeah, we're anxious. Cool. Okay, so we're about 1 minute out. I want to give Heather maybe a couple minutes to talk about what's next, and then I'm going to close us out with the poem, and we'll try to get you out of here pretty close to on time. If you have to jump, I also understand. But if you can hang just for maybe 3-4 more minutes, then we'll be good. Okay, hold on. You're muted. Can you unmute yourself?
I just want to.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
I just want to say that I love you guys and that I see the hard work that you've put into this, and I can hear it in your voices, and it's so inspiring. And it's exactly why I do this work. So it just feels really good right now to be in this conversation with you all and get to see your beautiful faces and hear your amazing voices articulating why this story work is important to you and what it's giving you. So thank you for taking the time to do that with yourself and to share that back with us. And then going forward, so we are about to launch something pretty soon called the Summer of Stories, where we're going to be offering lots of different tools online, interview series. Hopefully I can interview some of you, have people come on and share their stories. And it's going to be a whole, like,
Heather, you're breaking up.
Around storytelling. So that's the first thing to engage with. The second thing is want to have now.